Someone you trusted turned against you. Maybe it was a friend who spread lies, a colleague who took credit for your work, a family member who chose sides against you. Betrayal doesn't just hurt, it rewrites your story. It makes you question your judgment, your relationships, your future. But 2,000 years ago, two of history's greatest leaders faced betrayal so deep, they could have destroyed them. Instead, they transformed that pain into unshakable character. This is how they did it. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher emperor of Rome, commander of legions, trusted by millions. King David, shepherd turned king, slayer of giants, called a man after God's own heart. These two men were separated by 1,000 years and vastly different worldviews, but they shared one brutal test. Both were betrayed by the people they loved most, and both chose a path that history would remember, not for revenge, but for character. In 175 AD, Marcus Aurelius received word that Avidius Cassius, one of his most trusted generals, had declared himself emperor. Cassius commanded the Eastern legions. He had fought beside Marcus for years. He was a friend. But when false rumors spread that Marcus had died, Cassius seized power. He rallied legions against Rome, against Marcus. This wasn't just a political coup. This was personal. Marcus could have responded with fury. He could have ordered executions, purges, public humiliation. Instead, he reached for his philosophy, and he wrote this in his Meditations. The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. King David's third son, Absalom, was beloved, charismatic, handsome, ambitious. For years, Absalom quietly turned the hearts of Israel away from his father. Then, one day, David received the message. The hearts of the men of Israel are with Absalom. His own son had launched a coup. David, the giant slayer, the warrior king, had to flee his own capital. Even worse, Ahithophel, David's most trusted counselor, joined Absalom. The Bible says David went up the Mount of Olives, weeping as he went, with his head covered and walking barefoot, betrayed by his son, betrayed by his advisor, abandoned by his people. But David didn't curse them. He prayed. Marcus Aurelius could have let bitterness consume him, but he applied 3 Stoic principles. First, control what you can control. Marcus couldn't control Cassius's betrayal, but he could control his response. He chose reason over rage. Second, separate the person from the action. Marcus wrote, "When people injure you, ask yourself what good or harm they thought would come from it." He didn't dehumanize Cassius. He tried to understand him. Third, practice mercy. When Cassius was killed by his own soldiers, Marcus forbade any retaliation against his family or followers. He wrote, "The object of life is not to be on the side of the majority, but to escape finding oneself in the ranks of the insane." Marcus refused to become what he opposed. King David could have called for vengeance. He had loyal soldiers. He could have crushed the rebellion with violence. Instead, he did 3 things. First, he prayed before he acted. Psalm 3 was written during his flight from Absalom. It begins, "Lord, how many are my foes? How many rise up against me?" David brought his pain to God first. Second, he trusted God's justice, not his own. When a man named Shimei cursed David and threw stones at him, David's soldiers wanted to kill him. David said, "Let him curse, for the Lord has told him to. It may be that the Lord will see my distress and repay me with good." He surrendered the outcome. Third, he grieved with compassion. When Absalom was killed in battle, David didn't celebrate. He wept. "Oh, my son Absalom, my son Absalom, if only I had died instead of you." David's faith didn't erase his pain. It transformed how he carried it. So how do you apply this when someone betrays you? Here's the 5-step framework Marcus and David both used. Step 1. Pause before you respond. Don't react in the heat of emotion. Both Marcus and David gave themselves space to process. Step 2. Name what you can't control. You can't control what they did. You can't control their motives. You can't rewrite the past. Step 3. Ask. What does my character require? Not, what do I feel like doing? But what does integrity demand? Step 4. Choose mercy over bitterness. This doesn't mean trust them again. It means refusing to let their actions poison your soul. Step 5. Surrender the outcome. Marcus surrendered to reason. David surrendered to God. Both let go of the need to control what happened next. Here's your 7-day challenge. Day 1 and 2. Write down a betrayal you're carrying. Name what you can't control about it. Day 3 and 4. Ask yourself, what does my character require in response? Write it down. Day 5 and 6. Practice one act of release. Forgive in your heart, even if you don't reconcile. Day 7. Reflect. How does choosing character over revenge change you? Post your experience in the comments. Let's build a community of people who choose wisdom over wounds. This is the Principle Forge, where Stoic wisdom meets biblical truth. If you want more ancient principles for modern life, subscribe and step into the forge. Character isn't built in comfort, it's forged in the fire.